Good evening, everyone. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I make a motion to open the public hearing for the senior veterans, firefighter tax exemptions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I invite our assessor, Seth Plowski, up to discuss the exemptions. Yes, I do. You knew you were.
I don't know how to do this. Anyway, I don't have anything actually prepared. I didn't do a presentation, but we are looking to increase the income limits for the seniors and for the persons with disabilities and limited income. That limit hasn't changed since 2009, basically. The old limit of $29,000 for the full exemption we're proposing to raise that to $40,000 this year, $45,000 the next year, and $50,000 the year after. There's also a sliding scale above that to take, well, with diminishing returns as you approach the upper end of the limit, which would be an additional $8,400, bringing the total this year to $48,400. Next year, that upper end of the limit would be $53,400, and the following year, it would be $58,400. I really don't know what else to say. I don't.
Do you want to talk about the other?
Are we doing all three of them?
Yep.
Okay. And then the other one would be the exemption for volunteers. That one historically has been an extremely low exemption. The total limit, the limit on that was $3,000. In fact, it was so low that most of the volunteers seemed to go for the income tax credit. And the state has now changed the way that exemption is going to be calculated. It's going to be a 10% exemption, and there is no cap on that. And in order to qualify, the volunteers will have to be a member in good standing for a minimum of 5 years. There's also a clause in there for a lifetime member. Anybody who's been, I guess, a member in good standing for 20 years can also, they receive a lifetime exemption. I really don't have anything on that one. I don't have anything else to say. I'm sorry, I'm fried. Yes?
Do we apply every 2 years, every year?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to request from the fire departments, they're going to provide us with a roster at the end of the year stating who is in good standing, who's achieved. They are given the service award. That's, I guess, their term for it. Is based on a point system, and you have to achieve a certain number of points, there's a certain minimum number of calls that they have to go out on. The rest is achieved through education, through drills and training. Did I miss anything, guys? Okay.
Talking about the actual tax returns, you have to apply every year to get the deduction?
On the tax return?
Yes.
I would assume so. I don't have anything to do with that, though. Anybody else?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Lifetime exemption,
Yes.
right? So that would still require reauthorization every year?
No. Once that's achieved,
I know.
And the exemption can only be given to volunteers who are members of either the Kent Fire Department or Lake Carmel Fire Department. You know, it goes through Kent anyway.
Right.
That's it. Sure.
You have to come up here because then the people at home can't hear you. Sorry.
And if you can you please state your name for the record?
Hi, my name is Barry Sannel. I'm a commissioner for the Kent Fire Department. I manage the points in the LoSAP program for the firefighters. Members in good standing would require 24 points a year to be in good standing, and then we have the LoSAP program, which is state mandated under GML law. So the question I have for you is, since this is the town of Kent, the exception really would be for members of the Kent Volunteer Fire Department who own property in Kent. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Do we have to hold it over to the next?
You don't have to. It's up to
everyone-
what the board
I mean,
wants to
I'm
do.
ready to
You
vote on this.
can.
I don't know if everyone else.
I'm ready to vote on it.
Is everyone good with voting tonight? Okay. I think we have that. Do you want me to?
I'll do it.
Someone read? Okay.
As soon as I find it.
Yeah.
I got it, sure.
Yeah.
Do we know what resolution it is? Norma?
One.
Resolution. Local law one,
Yes.
and resolution one.
We didn't do roll call. No. Do you wanna do-
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we have roll call, please?
Supervisor McGlasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Present.
Councilman Toupori?
Here.
Councilman Ruthven?
Here.
Councilman Boyd?
Here.
All present.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to pass Resolution 1, or resolution adopting local law 1 of 2023, introduced by myself. And who's seconding it?
I'll second.
And seconding it. Whereas a local law to amend Town Code Chapter 67 entitled Taxation to amend the senior citizen tax exemption, the disability exemption, and exemptions for qualified members of the fire department and ambulance corps was introduced as introductory local law number 1, the local law of the year 2023, before the town board of the town of Kent on January 17th, 2023, and whereas the public hearing was opened on February 7th, 2023, and the public was invited to attend and be heard on the matter, now therefore be it resolved that introductory local law number 1 of 2023 is hereby enacted by the town board of the town of Kent as local law 1 of 2023 of the town of Kent, and be it further resolved that a true copy of the law is attached hereto and made a part hereof. I make this motion.
And
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Alrighty, let's see. I make a motion to open in the mining moratorium extension.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Do you want to just?
Yeah, this is another extension of the moratorium, the temporary moratorium we have on mining permits in the town. I know that we are working very diligent towards having a final version of a new law on this matter to present to the board, and this will definitely be the last extension of time, and we'll probably, hopefully be able to consider a new law within a month or two.
A month or two?
3?
3? So it is a little disappointing that we haven't gotten this done by this point. I understand that we need to get it right, and there's a little bit more that needs to be worked on. So I think, I asked the town board, let's hold ourselves to 3 months minimum to get this wrapped up and completed. In the meantime, we have to do the extension.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we going to pass this one too tonight?
I think so. Is
Okay.
everyone?
Can
We
we,
have
we
to.
I
have
think we
to.
have, oh yeah, we
have
have
to.
to, we
We
have
can we
to.
close the public hearing before we vote
I
on
make
it?
a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, did people get a chance to speak?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
come on.
okay, then it's not.
Still open.
Susan Kotzer, Town of Kent. I have a question. The town board meeting has it as a mining moratorium extension. And the planning board has it as listed as an excavation law. What is the difference, or are they the same? If I could have clarification, and the public could have clarification, what it is exactly. Thank you.
I guess.
I can give my opinion on it if I'm wrong. I think when it's all said and done, the law is going to be an excavation law. All right? We've generically been calling it the mining law, but when it's all said and done, the law will be regarding excavation. Okay?
I'd like to take a minute to talk to you guys about your moratorium that you're proposing on mining here in the town of Kent. I'm a 60-year resident of Putnam County. 32 last years have been in the town of Kent. My first 28 years, I lived in Mahopac, town of Carmel. I had the privilege of watching my mother, who was the chairman of the town of Carmel Planning Board, create good, proper, solid planning throughout her career and create a town that has a good, solid industrial tax base where people can raise their families and the taxes are not outrageous. Now, if you take the town of Kent, where I've spent the last 32 years, the taxes are outrageous. We have no planning scheme for this town that would bring in any sort of industrial development that would reduce the taxes in this town, okay? We have an enormous opportunity with the land that we have in this town and the natural resources that we have for wonderful development for families, low taxes for those families, jobs for those families, okay? When they say natural resources, we have lakes and parks and hiking. It's wonderful. It's a great place to raise a family, if you can afford to. Because the taxes, as everyone in this room has to admit, are staggering in this town. For a young family to move here, they look at houses, oh, this is the perfect house for us, 3 bedrooms, an acre, good schools, great schools. My 3 children went through the Carmel School District, all right? But then they look at the tax bill, and it's staggering. They go home and they sit down at night and they talk to each other in bed before they go to sleep and they say, it's a great little town. It's a beautiful town. It's quiet. It's peaceful. No crime. But how can we afford this? How can we afford $12,000 a year for a little 3-bedroom house in Lake Carmel? It's absurd. It's ridiculous. Okay? You're talking about mining. There hasn't been a mining operation in Putnam County in 150 years. Tilly Foster, the mines over in Lake Mahopac, the mines down in Mahopac Falls, those are mines. A mine when you go down in the ground and you haul out mineral resources, okay? What happened down here on Route 52 was a quarrying operation. Quarrying operation takes rock from above ground, crushes it into small aggregate, and sells it, okay? We live in a town where if you need some asphalt, you have to drive down to Carmel, okay? And you pick up your asphalt product for paving at a plant that is located next to a New York City reservoir. It is watched over by the New York City DEP. It's monitored by New York City DEP. If you think it's a dirty operation, go there sometime. Watch it happen. Watch the inspections that they undergo to make sure that it's clean and neat and done properly, okay? And then ask yourself, gee, where does the aggregate come from that they use to make this blacktop? It comes from a Peckham quarry, not a mine, in Dutchess County, okay? It is trucked through the town of Kent. Every speck is trucked through the town of Kent. It hammers the snot out of our roads, day in and day out, spring, summer, and fall. Not so much in the winter because there's no paving going on. All right? a contractor in this town that needs 20 yards of gravel to do around the foundation or whatever, you have to go to another county to get it, okay? The tax dollars that might come to this town and this county, we give away to other counties because of fear-mongering about mining in Kent. All it is exclusionary zoning tactics to scare people with the term mining. Because when people hear mining, they think my well is going to be contaminated, or the air is going to be polluted, or the noise. Once again, I urge you to go down and see Peckham's operation at their asphalt plant in Carmel, or go into Dutchess County and see where they produce all of the aggregate for all of their mining operations, for their asphalt operations in Westchester and Putnam County. All right? And does Putnam County get any sales tax from any of that aggregate? No. Do we get any property tax here in the town of Kent from a quarrying operation? No. No. What we do here when you have a quarrying operation is you take that land after it's been quarried, when it's worth millions and millions of dollars, and the school buys it, takes it off the tax rolls. It is no longer an asset to this town. It becomes a liability. We have a bus garage, and I know you people aren't the school board, but I'm trying to explain how things are connected together in this town, and how foolish it is to tell people you cannot take a hillside and make it flat ground so that we can put businesses on there and get tax revenue, so that people can afford to live here, so we can afford to give our police officers raises, so we can buy new equipment for our fire department, because we have a tax base, and now we don't have one, and we need one bad. Thank you for your time.
Sir, your name for the record?
Stephen O'Connor.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to, before we close?
Great. Want to make the motion to close?
Yeah. I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you have it?
I had it a minute ago.
You did.
I'd like to make a motion to pass resolution 2 of
Yes.
local law 2 for 2023, introduced by myself and seconded by
I'll second.
Jamie McGlasson. Whereas a local law extending a temporary land use moratorium prohibiting mining in the town of Kent was introduced as local law number 2 of the year 2023 before the town board of the town of Kent on January 17th, 2023, and whereas the local law determines the adoption of the local law constitutes, I'm reading that wrong. Whereas the local law determines the adoption of the local law constitute. One more time.
Constitutes a type 2 action.
Constitutes a type 2 action pursuant to the State Quality Environmental Review Act, SECRA, and therefore requires no further review under SECRA, whereas the public hearing was opened on February 7th, 2023, and the public was invited to attend and be heard on the matter. Now therefore be it resolved that introductory local law number 2 of 2023 is hereby enacted by the town board of the town of Kent as local law 2 of 2023 of the town of Kent, and be it further resolved that a true copy of the law is attached hereto and made a part hereof. Make this motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Our first item on our workshop is the discussion about the Lake Carmel Community Center. Do you want to take that to start?
We can. So, we've been kicking around what to do with the Lake Carmel Community Center for a very, very long time now. And we know we've discovered a lot of problems with the community center as it sits right now. We've had flooding damage there. We know we have black mold in there. We know we have asbestos on the shingles, on the floors, and possibly on the pipes. And we are opening this up to a discussion tonight for the public to step up and say how they feel about it. We really need to make a decision one way or the other on how we're gonna go with it. We know, we actually have a company ready. Are we passing that tonight? Come in for the asbestos testing?
I have it in here.
So we have a company ready to come in and test everything for asbestos. It's off a state contract from Dutchess or Westchester. I think they both have the contract. And then we have another company that's prepared to come in and do the removal. We don't have an estimate on the removal yet, just for the testing. So we are prepared to start taking steps to remediate the environmental issues that are inside the building. And then we have to make the tough decision of whether the building is worth saving for the amount of money that we have to put into it, or if we should look at replacing it with a new, more modern structure that would be ADA compliant, wouldn't have all the environmental issues involved with it, and would be more usable friendly for our community. So we'll open it up to discussion. People are welcome to come up and voice their opinions about it right now.
Kathy Doherty. I just have a question about the asbestos, about them coming in and spending, what, $4,000 or up to $4,000? If we already know it's there, why are we having them come
We
in?
have to have a test, an official test done on it, identifying it before the remediation company can come in and
Will
remove it.
come in and do it.
They'll actually say everything that is asbestos. I mean, we have a very good idea, but it's all part of the process with it. You have to have it tested before you can have it remediated.
Okay. I was the chairperson in 2001, bringing it to the town board to have a referendum for that building. And I know it means a lot to Lake Carmel, but I'd like to see the building taken down because there is so much work to be done in it and all the mold and everything. And they've tried to rehab the bathrooms, and it's not working. And I'd like to see a building being put there that's, ADA compliant and one floor so that everybody could use it. And it was income for Lake Carmel residents because we did rent it outside the area for people that wanted to use it for parties. So that's what I'd like to see, another new building.
Hi, I'm Pat Raybert. I think I'm still the chairperson of the Community Center Board. That's still kind of a question for us. We've been waiting to hear from you about the costs that came into play with the community center. We do know there's asbestos there. Some of the tiles on the floor are not, based on the information that we received because of the size of them. Tiles weren't made that size in asbestos, but there are plenty that are. I do know that this is a facility that was bought, is run by the town of Kent for the benefit of the residents of the Park District. So I think it's something we really do need to know what Park District residents want. The one request that I have made of you in the past, and I will make again, is if we do end up taking the building down, that we put something up in a similar footprint and we remember our neighbors. Because that's one thing we've been very cautious about, is to make sure when we did have events there, that we remembered we're in the middle of a neighborhood. So we'd like to make sure that you keep that in mind as well. And we get questions all the time, when can I rent the center? When can I rent the center? So I'm hoping we can move this along. This has been going on for a really, really long time. 2018 was when we had the first issues, when the tornado came through town and the trees came down and we started having problems, and we kind of haven't had it settled since then. So I know I have board members who want to keep the community center the way it is. It was sold from the Jewish Center to the Lake Carmel Park District. For me, I'd like to see the numbers. I can't make a decision on what I think is right to do until I see the numbers.
Thank you, Pat. So just a little background, and Pat's right. There was an issue, was it 2018 that we had the water issue in the building? Is it that far back?
2018 is when we had the tornado come through that broke the lines to the well. It was fixed quickly. Boys came right away to shut things off. They were awesome. But that was when things first started happen. We know there's an issue with one of the walls. The way that the ground is graded,
You
the
got,
water, sorry.
sorry. It's not fair to the people at home that they don't know what you're saying.
That's fine. What was I saying? Oh, we know that there's an issue with one of the walls at the community center. The wall along the side of the main room, Driscoll Hall, by the garage. There's a problem in the corner right there where the wall is sinking, and we've known that. We've tried to remediate it. It's a big job if we end up fixing it. We literally have to lift the wall to be able to replace it. Rich Hoffner has come in and looked at it for us and gave us some information on what we would have to do.
Wasn't there a problem on the opposite wall a couple years ago where literally it just like caved in and dirt fell into the building? Going out toward the road?
Oh, yeah. That was on the other side. We had a section of the wall removed. Somehow we ended up with powder post beetles, which are not in this area, so we kind of wonder where they came from, because they appeared all of a sudden. So we have our thoughts, but we just kind of keep those in our own minds. But they did appear. We took care of it. That has to be treated very carefully. You can't just throw out the wood. It actually had to be taken out by the contractor and burned because of the beetles, but that's been taken care of. That was just the one corner by the
remember seeing
stairs to downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, right near where the stairs go.
Right,
Right
yes.
there, right
That
at the
was
bottom of the
because
stairs.
Yeah, that was because of the beetles. That's been taken care of. But we know there's other things that need to be done there. We ran events there for many, many years. We had money put aside to do some of the work. We got stalled by previous administrations. We weren't able to get things done that we wanted to get done. So now we're in a position where we really need to sit down and
We have to make a
some hard
decision.
decisions. I mean,
So-
I would love to see the building stay. I've dedicated, 20 years of my life to that building, and that community center, and I would love to be able to keep it the way it is. However, I'm also realistic, and I need to see the numbers and see if it's real. But we do need to remember, and I need you all to remember, that the building does belong to the residents of the Park District, and not to the town. And if we do take it down, we do need to replace it. And it's something that people really are looking forward to. I can't tell you how many people have said, when are we gonna have a penny social again? You know, we missed New Year's Eve.
Well, that's for certain, absolutely. And unfortunately, I don't know if you've been in there recently, you can't even walk into the building. It's so bad in there right now.
I have not been in the building in
So
several
and
years.
it's the environmental issues that are the most concerning. There's a lot of concerning
Yeah.
stuff, and you know them better than everybody. Obviously, it's not ADA compliant,
No.
but currently, the environmental health issues, and it's not just asbestos, it's definitely black mold in there from a water leak and everything else.
Well, we know there was mold in the
You can smell it
apartment.
when you walk in. You can't
Well,
even breathe in there right now.
Well, like I said, I haven't been in there a few years.
That's it.
Originally, there was mold in the apartment up over the garage, which has a separate entrance, is sealed
Yes.
off. It's not, we never used that with residents, it wasn't a safe place. The stairs to get up there are very, very steep.
We were probably in there, just 2 or 3 months ago, and walked in on the upper,
Yeah.
you couldn't even stay in there.
We
so-
didn't originally have an issue with mold in there when there was first some question about that with one of the seniors in town. There was a question about mold, and if you actually read the report they got, there was more mold outside the building than inside the building. However, with all of the water damage, I wouldn't be surprised to see mold there.
So just talking, so everybody is clear finance-wise, we did get a settlement from the water damage in the building from the insurance company. We have that. That's a check that came. It's not a substantial amount, but it's something. And we also have a budget specifically of Lake Carmel money just earmarked for the Lake Carmel Community Center that can't be used for any other projects other than that project.
Right.
So there is some funding already available. But we know that it's probably going to be a higher price tag than that in any direction, whether it's a remediation or a replacement.
Right.
It's going to be a decision that the residents of Lake Carmel are going to have to accept and live with.
Yeah, one way or another,
But we want to see it done also.
it needs to be fixed. And it would be nice to have it ADA compliant, but it isn't now because it's grandfathered in. The building was built in what year? 1849, I believe, yeah. So it is a historical building.
You know,
That's the
I can
only other-
appreciate, and I've had to think a lot about this, I can appreciate the memories, the fond memories you guys have had, all the events you've had there. But, you know, the memories were the people. A building's a building. You can have just as many
I
memories.
realize that, no, all I mentioned is that it is a historical building.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the only concern I have in it. There are parts of it, like there's a stained glass window that was repaired by a Lake Carmel resident, that if we do end up taking it down, there are things that we'd like to have you.
There's a lot of very unique things from the Jewish school and everything in there that all should be saved and kept, whether, you know, if we end up with a new building, it needs to show the old parts of the old building in it as the history of it too.
I will, however, ask you if you do a new building to have us have a commercial kitchen. It would make life a lot easier.
Yeah, no, 100%. I
That's
think
something
everybody
we
would love
couldn't
that.
do because of the footprint of the building. We couldn't change that kitchen. It would
So,
have been major renovation.
just to know where we are with steps right now, we want to bring in the people to test for the asbestos first and foremost. We want to get a price quote on that, and if we have to, well, you're talking about the inside, I'm talking about the outside also, all the
But we
outside
know the
shingles.
shingles are
Yeah, so I mean,
asbestos.
complete asbestos removal from one end to the other, no asbestos left in the building. Because whether we demo it or keep it, it has to go. I mean, either way, you're not allowed to tear down the asbestos shingles and just haul them off into a dumpster. They have to be properly handled. So we got to do that one way or the other. It's step one,
Which is why they were never taken off.
right?
They weren't broken, so they were
And the
left.
nice thing about removing the shingles from the outside is now we get to see really what's behind them and the structure and whether we got rot in the walls and stuff like that.
And we would be able to insulate and replace.
And the wiring
the
is
wiring.
atrocious. You know, when I went in to try to turn off the lights once, I was scared to stick my finger into the switches up behind the stage up there. I wasn't sure what I was poking my finger into. So, I mean, there's,
We have fuses in there that they don't make anymore.
yeah, so we got environmental issues, we got construction, you know, structural issues that we know of, and it's, you know, I gotta tell you, in my opinion, and it's just mine, I don't live in Lake Carmel, I don't have a horse in this race other than having to be responsible for being one vote that makes the decision. I don't see remediation being the economical choice here, but I'm guessing, we have to see
Well,
these numbers.
That's why we need to see the numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, if we compare the numbers, as much as I know our committee would like to see the building stay, we're also realistic. If it's gonna be significantly more to remediate the building versus replace the building, then we have to be fiscally responsible to the residents as well.
And if it's more economical to replace it, and out of that, we get ADA compliance and everything that's gonna make it easier for the residents to use. I mean, we know the seniors used it for years, they rented it for years. But the stairs in the middle of it was a big situation. They were sitting on the bottom, but had to get up the stairs to use the restrooms on the top
We
level.
used to go out.
And they had to go outside to get to the restroom. So there's physical limitations to the building that we could remedy by putting in the new building.
Great.
I've said enough
Nice
about it. Let the
kitchen.
rest of the board talk about it at this point.
No more questions for me?
Well, not right now. We'll make you come back up. Any other public comment? I think Bob looks younger.
I want to say, but I'd like to see a resolution one way or the other. I personally would like to keep it, but for 20 years, opening for parties, the neighborhood, they love it, okay? And we've been lagged in all these years, and just to get to the bottom, we got to fix it. And I'm leaving it up to the board to do what's best, okay? And as soon as possible.
As soon as possible, we hear you.
Yes. Yeah.
Bobby Ulick, Lake Carmel resident. Good evening, all. Just have a few questions about the community center itself and the board. First, with the board, is there going to be direct input from them at this time? Is there still a board? As the chairperson, Pat, mentioned before, I was kind of taken back because I was assumption all these years that there has been, at least for the past 2 years, and it doesn't sound like that is in place.
It's just, nothing's been done
Okay.
at the center, so you're kind of in limbo.
Okay.
So the quick answer to that is it hasn't been reappointed at organizational meetings because we've had no functional center to have a board for it for a couple of years now.
Will they be now a part of whatever the decision that's going to come forth? And before I even put that question forward, you started to mention before, what is the next step? I mean, obviously you're trying to get what the residents are looking for. I think it's been well spoken tonight, but I don't know if it's been fully spoken by a good majority of the residents of Lake Carmel. Obviously people can't get out here. Hopefully many are watching on TV. How would they have the opportunity to voice their opinion in another format? Even to share with the group, if a possibility, could we have some kind of, I don't know, what would you call it? Almost like a survey that could be sent out possibly to the residents with some possible choices. And going back to what was said before, once some of those numbers, and hopefully those numbers will become available, people will be better to understand what their choices and opportunities would be. Would something like that be reasonable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but I will tell you this, I get calls in my office all the time from people that live around the center to asking me when I'm tearing it down because they're sick of looking at it and they want to put a new building up there.
And
So I know that, and I know that they're not here tonight, I don't want to say names because they're not here, but they call probably every other week, the same few people call.
and that's probably a great thing. Probably not for your office because you have
No,
other things
but-
to do, but
I hear those calls.
Sure.
So, and no, they're not here tonight, but.
yeah. And I think it's been expressed again tonight that there is, unfortunately, a line right down the middle. We'd like to keep it because it was a beautiful building and has a lot of memories, but also, as Councilman Ruthven said, it is a building, it's a structure. It can be taken down, it could potentially, probably be made even better, and still have those memories available through trinkets and
Right.
whatever else. So
We can
there is a
save
lot going on.
aspects of it. We can save the
Yes.
stained glass, we can save things. So
Absolutely,
It'll never
absolutely.
be gone completely, even
Sure.
if,
Just, I want to try to touch on one of your questions and what's kind of the timeline. I think, and I tried to explain this with Pat, we're going to deal with the asbestos either way right now. That's going to buy us some time. People are going to see that something's happening there. In that time, to answer your question, I think we could hold a public workshops. We could have one at the Lake Carmel Park Advisory Board. We could have one through here. We could have, we're going to have some time to do some outreach and come up with that solution. It's not going to be overnight that this asbestos gets removed. They bring in the big containers, and I bet you it's going to be a couple months before it all gets taken care of. But in that time frame, we hope to be able to find our path, if no better way to say it, whether it's right or left or right down the middle. We don't really know yet, because once we get the asbestos removed, we can bring in, start putting a bid out to see what both our options are. And I think we bid it both ways, don't you say? We bid it for our remediation and making it ADA compliant at the same time, because there was talk when I first got on the board about putting a little lift elevator in there or something like that. So there are options to meet the ADA requirements, but I think we put a bid out in both directions, and then we have a solid number in both ways of what the answer is.
Okay. And I think, I'll end with this, I think conversation has come up in the past. If not, I'll bring it up again tonight, and I believe it's actually the next item that's on the agenda, is actually conversation about the old police station, as I refer to it. I'll say that I'm one of the local yokels around here that had it when it was back in town hall and such. Is there a potential for one or the other to benefit each other, where maybe monies or funding or whatever from one building is brought to the community center or vice versa? I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but just something else to think about, I would consider in the future.
Funding, is that what you said, funding?
Funding, the building itself,
He's
yes.
suggesting using the proceeds of the potential sale of the old building to fund the new community building in Lake Carmel, but
But
that's
one
a
is a
district.
town.
Right,
So
you can't
the old
use
police
town
station is
funds
a
for
town
the
of
district.
Kent building, but the Lake Carmel Community Center is just Lake Carmel.
Okay.
So
I
they're-
don't know if anybody has anybody else. I'm just going to literally finish on that. I know I said I would. I also want to consider, and one of my questions is going to be, but tell me if I need to wait until the next agenda item comes up. But I'm a little confused as far as the budget, because the budget for that building, meaning 640, the old police station, actually falls under Lake Carmel. So I don't know if that's considered a Lake Carmel building. Lake Carmel, my understanding, at least in the budget, has actually been paying the expenses for that, not that there's been many, but over the past few years. So definitely want to talk about that too.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Is that building in the Park District?
It's in the Park District.
It is, but it's,
It's the town of Kent's, but it's in the park district because of where it's
Oh, okay.
but I guess you should look into that.
That building
I-
is listed for Arts on the Lake.
That's what I thought. It's the
yeah,
old
it's
fire
not,
station.
yeah, that's,
Like, it just seems like it's were reappointed until 2025. We
okay.
just haven't had anything because we spoke, and we've been waiting. We just haven't.
He has the building.
Yes, he does. He's thinking of Arts on the Lake. That's, Lake Carmel is not funding anything for the old police station. What? That's all ARPA funding. No, but he's saying that he thought that something was being paid from there, but it was just a little mix-up of addresses. It's fine. Okay. All right, so are we good to move on?
Yes.
We're good? All right. Our next item is the GenServe repairs for our generators. Oh, wait, should we do the asbestos?
Oh, we're going to approve the testing of the
Yes, I'm sorry,
asbestos.
let's go back to that, but, so I'm just reading this, the only issue is that they're giving us an approximate cost of
I
it.
don't know.
So, I don't know what we wanna do as far
You could
as,
say not to exceed and then just, add some money on if you have
Okay.
an
And just so
idea.
you know, this is,
Like-
we are piggybacking on a contract from
Mm-hmm.
another county for this. So it is already been vetted out as a approved
Mm-hmm.
contractor.
Okay.
they're saying on here 4,300, but, I mean, maybe we should go to 55 or 6?
Yeah, that's fine. Put 5,000. If we don't spend it, we don't spend it.
Well, 5,000 is only like $670 more, so maybe more than that, maybe like 1,000 more?
Okay.
Is this the Barton and the Judas?
No, this is the Adelaide asbestos inspection. You know, it's, I'm sorry, what? Right, so I'm afraid that that's just not, they give an approximate, and then later on in the contract, it says that this is an approximate and that it can be more. It's actually highlighted that this is an estimated cost, so. Why don't we do 7,000?
Yeah. I don't think we have a resolution for this one.
I don't see it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could just make a motion.
I'm going to make a motion to add an item to the agenda.
Well,
But it's on the
It's on the
agenda, the
agenda.
discussion part is. It's just, there's no resolution for
Oh,
to
so I make a
approve
motion to
Adelaide.
pass a
Sorry.
resolution. How's that sound?
perfect.
How do you say that, Adelaide?
Adelaide.
I make a motion to pass a resolution approving Adelaide Environmental Health to test for asbestos at the Lake Carmel Community Center on 10 Huguenot Road in Lake Carmel for an amount not to exceed, what did we say, 7?
Yep.
Not to exceed
7,000.
$7,000. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Step 1, on our way.
Our next item is our GenServe repairs for our generators. We had our yearly maintenance checkups, and we had some issues on a few of our generators. 2 of the items had to actually be done immediately because it was the heaters on them completely went, and it was right before last weekend when we had that 0-degree day, and if we didn't immediately fix it, we would have more problems. So I went ahead and approved that, and then we'd have to approve the rest of the items that need to be fixed that were not an emergency issue. I'll just ask that we approve those so we can get it done.
All right.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the acceptance of quotes for generator repair for the Highway Department, the Town Hall, and the Police Department. Whereas the generators servicing the Highway Department, Town Hall, and Police Department are in need of repair, and the Town Board of the Town of Kent is in receipt of 2 quotes from GenServe, Inc. to perform such repairs in accordance with the service contracts between GenServe and the town. And whereas GenServe has proposed the cost to repair the generators to be $2,153.84 and $3,911.85. And now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby accepts the quote of GenServe for a total cost not to exceed $6,065.69. And it is further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes and directs the supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I hereby make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have our court conference room carpet repair. Everyone could look into that room right over there and see that we had a very bad leak about a month ago. We had to pull up the carpets and we need to put the carpet back down. We called a few places and only one company called back to give us a quote. So it is for $610.35. I ask that we approve it so we can get carpet back in that room because we're using it still even without carpet on the floor.
Yeah. I got probably a dumb question, but why do we need carpet in that room and not something that's waterproof?
You can put something else down there if you want, but we have to put something down.
Can we just put some tiles like this down and if it gets some water
Yeah, you
on
want to
it-
come in on tomorrow and do it?
Oh.
You don't want carpet in there?
We can put carpet down.
That was what was in there, that's why we just were replacing it.
Okay. Kathy, do you know why they put carpet in there when they built it instead of tile?
Mhm.
Well, that could be.
Yeah, it was designed as a meeting room for the council, the
Yeah.
lawyers meet with their clients, and because of the acoustics, I think it requires.
Yeah, carpet is going to be noise canceling
Can't hear,
anyway.
yeah.
A little bit.
Well, that makes sense then. Okay.
Absolutely.
They're still using it even without something on the floor right now, but.
Good.
All right.
Want to take one?
So resolution acceptance of quote for carpeting for the Town Justice Court Conference Room. Whereas in accordance with the town procurement policy, the town requested quotes for carpeting for the conference room for the Town of Kent Justice Court, the court offices, and received one quote in response. And whereas Sam's floor covering of Mail Pack has submitted the sole and therefore lowest quote for the removal and carpeting of the court conference room at the cost of $610.35. Whereas the town board of the Town of Kent wishes to accept the quote of the corporation of $610.35. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Kent hereby accepts the quote of Sam's floor covering at the cost of $610.35. And be it further resolved that the town board of Kent hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to give effect to this resolution.
Make that motion.
I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Our next item now is the old police station. It is, we had an engineering company that's on our list of approved engineers come in, and we want them to do a building renovation study on the old police station so that we can start the process of redoing it. So they went around with Councilman Ruthven, and they were able to give us a scope of work, and their quote is for $15,500 to create the study. We've worked with them before, that we have been very happy with with Barton and LaJudas, so.
No questions? I'm excited to get this project going.
Yeah.
Yes. Someone
You want to take it?
I'll do it. I make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing hiring of Barton and LaJudas for the community center renovation study. Whereas the town board of the Town of Kent believes it is in the best interest of the town to obtain a study on the feasibility of renovating the former town hall into a community center for the town. And whereas the town board is in receipt of a proposal from Barton and LaJudas to provide the study for a total cost of $15,500, a copy of which proposal is annexed here too. And whereas by resolution number 370 dating December 15th, 2020, Barton and LaJudas was awarded the bid to provide engineering services to the Town of Kent for a 3-year term. And whereas the town board wishes to accept the proposal, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Kent hereby accepts the quote of Barton and LaJudas to conduct a renovation study for a community center at the Old Town Hall for a cost not to exceed $15,500, consistent with the annexed proposal. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Guess we should have moved this up when the fire department was here, but we have here the 2022 service awards for the Lake Carmel Fire Department members who have successfully qualified for the service awards program for the year 2022. Should I list them all?
No. You read all of them? Read the resolution as it is, right?
Yeah. We thank them for their continued service for the town.
There's a lot of them.
Yes, there
Right. There goes one of them.
is. They heard me talking about them. All right.
All right, who's gonna do it?
Got it. Make a motion to adopt a resolution regarding the approval of revised service awards program for the Lake Carmel Fire Department. Whereas the town of Kent is in receipt of a proposed resolution for the service awards program for the Lake Carmel Fire Department, describing a revised service awards program, a copy of which is annexed hereto and made a part hereof. And whereas the Lake Carmel Fire Department has requested that the town board approve the revised service awards program as set forth in the proposed resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby approves the revised service award program for the Lake Carmel Fire Department as annexed, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I hereby make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have our town hall, our automatic doors. Sue Coates actually made us all aware that it was very difficult once you made it up the ramp to get in the building if you couldn't open up the doors. So I was able to find the only company that installs these in the area, who also did the library. And they came out and they gave us a quote, so it's all here. The total sum would be $4,972 to install everything we need for the automatic doors, for both doors coming into Town Hall. Any questions?
No.
Any public comment? So, thanks, Sue, for making us aware of this so that we could. No. You wanna read it?
Sure. Make a motion to adopt a resolution accepting a quote for handicap door operators, Town Hall, Town of Kent. Whereas the Town of Kent is in need of handicap door operators for the Town Hall, and whereas the Town Board is in receipt of a quote from Door Control, Inc., the sole provider of the service in the area, to provide and install the necessary equipment for a total cost of $4,972. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby accepts the quote of Door Control, Inc. to provide the equipment for a price not to exceed $4,972. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all agreements and other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution, consistent with the terms hereof, all in form satisfactory to the supervisor and the town attorney if requested. I hereby make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good. Next, we have a radio agreement with the county for the police department. So I invite our police chief, Kevin Owens, up here to discuss this agreement.
Yeah.
Do you want a copy of it to look at? Right up there? No?
We're not going to get that in depth, are we?
No.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yes,
make
we're
sure
gonna
you
test you,
memorize it.
actually.
Yeah, so Putnam County's going through a radio project right now, where they're updating all the towers and going to a new frequency. As part of the grant, they've bought radios for a lot of the municipalities. They put out a mutual, an agreement that specifies what we have to do in order to have these radios for free, you know, take care of them, keep them in working condition, use them the way that it's designated to be used on the towers and the frequencies. And it's pretty self-explanatory as far as what we're looking to do. And obviously, we would like to get those radios so that we can reduce our lease with NICOMCO.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Any questions?
That's different.
Okay.
Public questions?
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kev.
I can do this if you want.
Go ahead, Ann.
I make a motion to adopt a resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Putnam County Office of Information Technology and GIS. Whereas the town of Kent is in receipt of a memorandum of agreement, the agreement, dated 15th December 2022 with Putnam County by and through the Putnam County Office of Information Technology and GIS, the county, by which the county would provide necessary radio equipment, the equipment, to the Kent Police Department, a copy of which is annexed hereto and hereby incorporated herein. And whereas the town and the county wish to enter the agreement to provide for the continued use of the equipment by the Kent Police, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby approve the agreement, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Kent authorizes the town supervisor to execute the attached agreement and any other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution in a form satisfactory to the town supervisor and the town attorney. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby approves and ratifies all acts heretofore taken by the town board, town supervisor, and any and all town officials in connection with the subject agreement. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're up.
I ask the board to approve the following vouchers for 2023 that were over the threshold. Barton and LaJudas, DPC, $13,223.43 for the Lake Louise Drive culvert. Semco Water, $8,224.70 for Water District Number 1 mapping. City Carding, $7,663.70 for Lake Carmel garbage. $8,665.70 for Lake Carmel garbage, $6,823 for Lake Carmel garbage, and $10,945.50 for Lake Carmel garbage. Edmonds Government Tech, $4,931.64 for building annual software maintenance. GenServe, $5,115 for generators annual maintenance. Global Mantello Group, $2,890.93 for gas, $5,191.66 for diesel. Hogan Rossi and Liguri, $5,416.63 for legal services for February. Lake Carmel Fire Department, $952,202 for the 2023 budget. Lawton Adams Material, $2,568 for the dumping of concrete and blacktop. Mobile Tech, $31,944 for police annual maintenance support. NICEAG, $2,547.49 for electric for Ryan's Field Lights. Ring Squared, $3,454.31 for telephone service. Laura Roberts, $2,205 for the prosecutor for January. And for 2022 vouchers that were over the threshold, Allegiance Trucks, $4,883.39 for truck parts. Morton Salt, $30,605.97 for road salt. Solitude Lake Management, $12,000 for Lake Tibet. State Comptroller, $33,184.25 for the Justice Court's fines and fees for December. And Town of Kent Municipal Repairs, $2,522.45 for chargebacks to the police, and $13,810.28 for chargebacks to highway. I ask the board to approve them as following as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a couple of announcements. Our first one is on Saturday, February 25th, the Carmel Rotary is having their 16th annual Community Basketball Challenge. Tip-off is at 9 a.m. For more information, you can call 845-225-2122, or you can visit carmelrotary.org and click on Challenge for more information. And then our very own Sergeant Vanderwood was able to get us a very, very large grant all on his own from the National Policing Institute. So he put in all the effort and not with the grant company or anything, just all on Sergeant Vanderwood. And do you want to say anything about it? I know we're all very proud of him.
Just that you did a great job.
What's it for? Can you kind of describe it?
It's to reduce crime in rural areas. And it's for equipment and people's salary.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
It was very,
Over $100,000.
Wow,
Yes.
that's really good.
so, thank you. That's all I have.
I got just two things. On Friday, the 24th of February, the Danbury Hat-Tricks are hosting a Town of Kent night as the Hat-Tricks take on the Port Huron Prowlers at the Danbury Ice Arena, which is located at 1 Independence Way in Danbury. Across the street is the Patriot Garage. The game starts at 7:30. The Hat-Tricks are a professional ice hockey team. If you've never gone to a game, it is a really fun family event. The best way I can describe it, it's like going to the Hudson Valley Renegades, but it's on ice. We've secured, Supervisor McGlass and I have secured special group discounts for Kent community members, and that includes Kent residents, staff, family, friends, anybody you want to come. You use code KENT23 when you go to check out. There's some of these flyers are out in the lobby here. They're by the town clerk's window and also at the KPD. I'm going to drop off some this weekend at the Kent Rec basketball. We are sitting in section 100. There's literally about 250 seats in that section that has been put aside. And the seats are normally $15. We're getting them for $6 off for adults and also children under 12. So please, go out. You can either cut and paste the website, web address, or you can just go on danburyhattricks.com, click on tickets. It's the February 24th game against the Port Huron Prowlers. And once you go to checkout, use code KENT23 and you'll get the discounted rate. But again, also, please select section 100 so we can all sit together. Second thing that I'd like to bring up, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do we have this on our website, on the rec website?
Yes,
and everything?
it's on
It's on the
the
town
main
website.
page and then also on the Kent Rec page. So you can also go online and find that flyer. The second thing is Supervisor McGlasson and I have been in touch with Assemblyman Slater about repaving 52. Unfortunately, it's not a town road, it's a state road. So he has met with the Department of Transportation, he's met with the commissioner up there, and him and Senator Harkman are trying to get it repaved. So we are doing the best we can because I am tired of driving up and down 52 with my teeth chattering. So the best thing we can do as a community is email Assemblyman Slater, email Senator Harkman. They're the ones that are going to be able to get it done. We can call them every single day, but the more community members that reach out to them, the better off we'll be, and hopefully they will do it this spring.
I actually got a letter in my office today from Matt Slater and from Harkman, and they both signed it saying, sending it up to DOT that, you know, they're requesting it to be done as well. So if anyone wants to send emails to me, I can print them out and send them to Matt, so that way we have more and more support. The more the better, so if anyone.
We just had a meeting last night, but I'll ask the chambers, because all businesses are complaining.
I mean, you can send it directly to him, or you can send it to me, and I can put it all together, and then, yep, thank you.
I was reading the paper earlier today, a little free one that we hand out here, and there's a letter to the editor article or somewhere there. I didn't read the whole thing, but there is a New York State DOT hotline number called 1-800-POTHOLE. You can call and complain about your roads. Everybody should call and complain about Route 52.
Yep.
I mean, I'll be honest, 301 in Western Kent is not much better either if you're by where the monastery is out there. I drive that way every day to school, and it's just, I'm waiting to get a flat tire. That's all it comes down to. Yeah, you literally have to avoid every single pothole that's out there. But again, it's not just a problem that's exclusive to the town of Kent. It's everywhere, so unfortunately. And Kathy, if you don't mind, I'm going to give you one of these if you can bring it to the chamber, so that would be great. The more the merrier. Yeah, the more the merrier. It is, it's a lot of fun, and they've done, Diamond Entertainment Group bought the Danbury Ice Arena, and the hockey team, and the changes they've made over there. I mean, I've been going there since my son was a stick boy for the Brewster Bulldogs, and so we were basically grew up at Danbury and Brewster Ice Arena. It is, if you've never gone, go. You will have such a blast. And it's family friendly, it's inexpensive, and it's 15 minutes down the road. So please, everyone come out and go. It will be a lot of fun. And Supervisor McGlasson unfortunately can't go.
No, I can go to that.
Oh,
I thought you
you're
were asking-
going?
I thought you were asking about this weekend.
Oh, okay. She will be either
So
dropping the
unfortunately, I
ceremonial
still-
puck or shooting for they do like a TK's Wild Wings shootout, so I'm gonna talk to Herm and get you to shoot on the ice. That would be funny. I did it one year when we did it for CRIFAC for the youth football, and I missed the net on all 3 shots, and my son said I was embarrassing, so it was quite humorous.
Oh, great.
It's a little intimidating when you're out in the middle of the ice and you have 2,000 people screaming at you because they want free buffalo wings.
We'll practice before.
Yeah.
So once again, there are so many wonderful programs going on at the Kent Library that I can't possibly mention them all. I'm sure you all want to go home before I could get through them all. But this one looks really cute. Pause to Read on Wednesdays from 4 to 5 starting tomorrow, and 2 weeks after that. You can read to Sonny Boy of Therapy Dogs International. So that looks like fun.
Oh, I thought the dog was gonna read.
Maybe he does, those therapy dogs are pretty smart. Also, Mystery Date with a Book. You can go in and check out a mystery book that's wrapped up. You don't know what it is, and you get to find out and let them know how you liked it. The library is also running, actually, I think Putnam County Libraries in general, so you need to check and get more information. New Parents Support Group. You can make a bird feeder. This is Wednesday, the 22nd of February, 11 to 1 for children to make bird feeders. Also, I think through the end of this week, you can make a Valentine for seniors and others who might be appreciative of receiving a Valentine next week. You can go to the library to get the materials, or you can make your Valentines and bring them in and drop them off up through Friday this week. And one thing I'm very excited about, we have a group of organizations that's working on bringing the statue of Daniel Nimmo to the county park, getting that 4-foot version of Michael Karopian's statue. We had an event at Arts on the Lakes a couple of weekends ago where Jeff Hodges showed the most amazing film about how that statue in Fishkill was made. It's unbelievable. And on March 1st, Mike is going to be at the Kent Public Library to talk about the history of Daniel Nimmo. So this is being sponsored by the library, the Historical Society, Kent Conservation Foundation, and Arts on the Lake. We're all teamed up on this. The event will be at 6 o'clock. And so you'll hear all about Daniel Nimmo's history and role in this area, and then there'll be some time for Q&A at the end. So I hope to see you Wednesday, March 1st, 6 p.m. at the library. Thank you. I think that's it.
Bobby, I got no new updates on Lake Carmel. Nothing's changed from 2 weeks ago.
What you can't see on TV is that there was about a dozen local firefighters here this evening. Their service is invaluable, the men and women that give us their time, and I know they're always looking for volunteers, so if you think about it, come on down. You can talk to the local fire department right here in Lake Carmel Fire Department and the Kent Fire Department.
Yeah. I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss.
Public comment?
Public comment.
No. Anybody got anything else to say tonight?
So I'm Lisa Roston. You probably remember me from December. I was here expressing concern about contamination of the drinking water in the town of Kent. And so there's perfluorinated compounds are in our drinking water. They're above drinking water standards. They're above drinking water standards sometimes at the elementary school. They're in the community well number 2 at Barrett Hill on a consistent basis. Every time it's tested, they exceed the standard for PFAS. And they're at our residents as well. And I've asked the town to consider testing water at the old police station, which is considered an innovation. I would now recommend that you test at the community center. And I've sent letters to both the fire department and to the town about the Arts on the Lake, because that's Lake property, Parks Department. and I haven't heard back, so I guess I would like to hear, whether the town is, gonna be testing any of those properties. If I've sent it to the wrong party, who's the appropriate person to talk to about it, to request that the town post that information on its website so it's transparent, because people don't know. And that the town request that the county and the state health department come and talk about PFAS contamination, because I think you should be concerned about the public health of your community. And also, I don't think about what the request was going to be, but anyway.
So as far as in our water districts that have the PFAS, the numbers should be on the website, but we've, Councilman Boyd and myself met with Barton and LaJudas, who we actually hired tonight to do the old community center. They are creating a study to show us what we need to do to create, how would you say it, what we need to put into the water systems to get the PFAS out of the water.
So you have to have a dual, like, granular, dual carbon system.
Right, but so they have to do the whole study for us. So
But have you tested the water at Old Town Hall?
at Old Town Hall, no, we have not tested.
This is the water district.
I'm talking about the water districts. Yes.
So currently, the Old Town Hall and the community center are not being used. There's no, but before they get up and using,
I know, but I'm trying to track where the source of the contamination.
well, we don't have the electric and the pumps on down there right now. We can't pump the water.
Okay, so you can't collect.
They're closed down and winterized right now.
But in the spring, can you collect the water?
We will turn the water on when it is at the point that we need to start the work on it, when the people are needing to do that.
So that might not be for years.
At least down at the Old Town Hall, I was in there, there's no infrastructure. We turn it on, you're not pumping the water to anything. You understand what I'm saying?
No, there's gotta be faucets in the Old Town Hall.
But the water's been turned off down in there. So we're not gonna turn it on. I mean, we could have a water test drop down the well and pull a sample out, but we're not gonna turn it on. We're not gonna charge up the entire building just to take a sample. When we, yeah, that's all part of the study for the renovations. They went out and looked at the well. It'll be a year, we just approved tonight for the study.
Right, but then you said the study, what I heard was that the study could take a year.
The study for the,
I mean, you're spending so much money on your vouchers that you're approving, and it costs like $275 a sample to test the water. So it seems like it's not a big deal to test the water. That, this is, in my neighborhood, people are drinking the water. And numerous people have told us that they have cancer. There's numerous health effects that are linked to exposure to PFAS. EPA's.
I'm confused. What?
Is it near zero?
I'm not arguing with you on any of the scientific part, but you want us to turn on the water just to test? But we will test the well before it gets used to make sure nobody's drinking.
Yeah, but that, I don't, can you tell me when that might be, that you might test that?
I don't know.
I think what he's saying is that if no one is consuming the water from that well, that there's no reason to test it until it becomes time that someone.
The reason to test it is by having more data, then it can help isolate where the problem is, and it gives me more data to provide to the state, to put pressure on the state to do something about it. In Manhattan, if you have levels above 10 parts per trillion, they are providing bottled water to homeowners. We have above 10 parts per trillion in our water, and they're not doing anything.
Why is that?
Why? Because they say they have to know the source. So only if they have a known source will they test it, will they do anything. And as I said when I was here last time, you have the landfill that's at Commerce Street. It has elevated levels of PFAS. It's about a mile and a half away. It may or may not be contributing, right? You have the old fire station, the new fire station. The firehouse at one point used firefighting foam that was Class B firefighting foam that contains PFAS. They have not tested. That's why I asked the fire department to test their water. Or if they have tested, they haven't released the data. I've asked either for the data or for them to test, they have not responded to my email. I asked the town to test at Arts on the Lake because Arts on the Lake is rented, like they don't own that property. Maybe the town isn't the appropriate party that I should be asking, but then at least the town should respond back to me and tell me either it's not the appropriate person, people I should talk to someone else instead, or what your action you're going to take, but instead it's silence.
I'm sorry,
There's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's lots of questions being asked.
and I thought that when you first set your, and maybe I got the wrong person, I apologize for that when you first did your inquiry about it, that the town did respond to you and say that, water testing is the county health department's jurisdiction.
The health department only tests public water supplies. They do not test private wells. It's outside of the health department's jurisdiction.
So every well that's drilled doesn't get sent to the health department?
Nope.
So who?
No one is taking responsibility. This is the problem.
So we did call the health department to say, what is this and what's going on? And our response from the health department was that the responsibility lays in each individual homeowner's responsibility.
The individual homeowner doesn't even know that there's a problem. At least the
So we can be the public awareness of that. We can put something out there saying that, you need to be aware of this and you need to take the responsibility to test your water for it.
And people
in
think
public.
that people don't understand that the type of test you need to do for PFAS is very different than what people normally test for. And it's a lot more expensive than they normally test for. You can only go to accredited labs for it.
But they can request it. If they know to request it, they can request it.
Right, they can request it, but you have to know what to request and where to request it from. And that just using like a Brita filter or having a water softener is not removing it. So people think that they're treating their water and it's safe, and that's not true. And it's not just, drinking water. You can't cook with it. You shouldn't be brushing your teeth with it. It's a big deal.
But now, see, because we were in a meeting last week, and correct me if I'm wrong, but our water company, Semco, said to us that if you scrape a Teflon pan with like a fork or whatever, and you're cooking with it and you scrape the bottom of it, that you've consumed more PFAS from that scrape than you would in your entire lifetime drinking.
Well, I don't know if I can't answer that, but you shouldn't be using Teflon pans. You should be throwing them out if you have them.
As of now, yes.
If you eat fish from freshwater lakes, your exposure is much higher than typically from drinking water. But there's the values that EPA has put forth are essentially near zero consumption over your lifetime. So there is not really, people should not be drinking it. They should not be drinking it if it's above, standards. And people don't even know. And at a minimum, the town can notify, have the county come or then the state health department come, people who work on the Mayapack site, there's PFAS contamination, there's several people who work on that site. You can ask people to come and talk about it and educate the community so that people can take the appropriate action. But, people are not going to only be able to spend $500 to sample or more. Because, if you do it individually, you're sampling your sample, plus you do a blind. If you do it in a group, then it's typically 1 in 20 samples where you have to have blind. So you can cut the costs that way. And maybe they cut people a deal if if there's that many more samples. And then if you're putting in a treatment system, and you're not just putting in an RO under your sink, but you're putting in a full house system, it's thousands of dollars. And in some communities, the state's putting in those systems, but that's because they have a known source. So the reason I was asking you to test is because that helps, and asking the fire departments to test, because it helps at least provide some more data points of potential sources. And, the town hall, the old town hall is just below where our property is, and it's between the two fire departments. So it helps kind of intersect where maybe contamination might come.
I guess I'm still a little bit confused, and you're gonna have to tell me. Are we testing for you to collect data, or before some agency? Are you giving this data to an agency?
I'm giving the data to the agency.
To who?
New York State Department of Health, New York State Department of Environmental.
Then why don't we have them come test?
Because they won't do it. I've already tried. They will not do it because if it's not within a half a mile of a known site, They will not test.
Yeah, that makes it tough because
And
this,
if you could also, if you don't feel comfortable testing, you could write a letter to them and ask them to test those properties. But I have asked them, I sent them my data, I sent it to the town, I sent it to EPA, I sent it to Department of Health, the County Department of Health, the State Department of Health, the State Department of Environmental Conservation. I asked them to test, I asked them to tell people. It was to no avail.
Well, I understand that, and we, as the town, are only responsible for testing the wells that we have under our jurisdiction, if we have a reason to test them. We certainly don't have any control over the health department, the state, or anybody else, who probably, and I'm not an expert on this, is the leading jurisdiction in this field of what's going on.
The jurisdiction is, they say, it's public drinking water, and if it's private wells, if it's associated with some known source.
So the public drinking water that we're responsible for, we are working on, we have tested it.
The water district, yes.
Yeah, that's the public water system that the town of Kent is responsible for. Unless it's a private, I shouldn't say private, unless it's an individual public well, which could be like here at Town Hall, or the old Town Hall, or the Arts on the Lake. So there I agree with you, we have jurisdictional ability to test those. What I don't want to get tied into is being responsible for every resident's private well in the town of Kent.
I'm asking you to test where you have jurisdiction, because that gives me more data to provide to the state and to the county to put pressure on them to do something.
So let's do this as a town board, guys, if you don't mind. Let's test the ones that we know are currently being used right now. The Arts on the Lake is an active building.
correct.
Let's run a test on that in
Here.
water. And here. And
You
here.
have here, I can tell you all the numbers from here.
We already have
We
the
have
test.
some.
I boiled
Some.
all the information.
Okay, so you've already had it tested. So the Arts on the Lake is really the only active well water right now.
I'm trying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That would,
right, Frank, we're shut down at the Lake Community Center. Yeah, and this one's shut down here, so that's the only one right now active that we can say tomorrow we can go test,
You can do
okay?
something like, because that's a former fire department, and that, they could have easily abused.
And people are drinking that, or I don't even know if they're drinking it, they're definitely washing their hands and stuff. And
They're using water there, whether
Okay.
they're using it or not, but it's potentially a source of contamination.
all right, that's easy enough, we can run the
yeah,
water
Sean,
test on
can you handle that?
Good.
Can
I'm
you
on.
get-
Yeah.
Okay.
it, okay?
Do you want-
Yeah, and if I may just say something about it, that the state and federal standards are different from each other. The government itself, on different levels, county, state, federal, nobody has an exact number for it. Everybody has different opinions on it. It's still something that's very new and upcoming.
Well, no, this is, the state standards 10 ppb for PFAS and PFOA.
Correct, yep.
The
Yep.
state, the EPA's number is an interim health advisory for lifetime exposure. The EPA is in the process of developing maximum contaminant levels, so it's the drinking water standards that should be issued this year.
Yep. I'm educating myself on it. I'm a well driller by, trade. I know groundwater very well. Grew up doing it as a kid. My dad, my grandfather. So I enjoy this, and I've been educating myself on PFAS for years. I've gone to classes on it. I'm a member of the National Groundwater Association, and I keep up on my time down there. And we go to these things, and I plan on. There's a whole bunch of them that I'm still going to be going to soon. Just don't want to speak too much about it yet. Until I can really line my ducks up, if you want to put it that way. And we have an engineer firm we hired, to do the public water districts here. So that's going to help us, figure out a bunch about it. So we're on it. We are on it.
Anybody else?
I just ask that when you test Arts on the Lake, if you can share that data.
Absolutely.
Public information.
Yep.
Anything else?
Any other public comment?
Now I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss, what's the contract? one?
Contractual.
Contractual
Negotiations?
negotiations. Yeah, there you go.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good